Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 320. Are you good because you're weak? When people can act virtuously or they can act non-virtuously. So essentially, they can act good or they can act sinful. Those are the two choices. The question is, why are you in your own particular life acting in a certain way, whether it's virtuous or non-virtuous? And so let's say you're acting virtuously. Either you're truly virtuous, right, and you've analyzed the virtues of prudence, justice, fortitude, temperance, faith, hope, and love, and you've mastered them, and then, therefore you've placed yourself in a position where you act in good ways, and therefore that's actually the process of sanctification in the Roman Catholic faith, and then you really are something to write home about, and maybe one day you're going to meet the Lord as your risen Lord and Savior and have eternal salvation. Now, there's another option out there, and why do you act in good ways? And the question and the possibility is that you're actually weak. Yeah, that you have no fortitude, you have no courage, and you're afraid to get in trouble. I mean, that is a possibility, by the way. And so, like, what if your inclination is towards sins of the sixth and ninth commandment, or fornication, or something like that? Like, it actually takes courage to go do such things. Like, if you're afraid of girls, right, or women, then you're not going to actually exercise that sin. You're actually not going to actually sin if you're actually afraid to go exercise that sin. What if you have an inclination of jealousy and envy and you want what other people have? Well, to go steal and rob from people, it actually takes just a slight amount of courage. You actually have to go and you have to risk getting caught. You have to risk getting beaten up if you have to risk. And, so you see what I'm saying. We either act in good ways because we want to be good and we've mastered our virtues, or we act in good ways because we're not necessarily good, but we don't want to get caught. And it's up to every single one of us to actually analyze why we do what we do, why we actually act in good ways and not in bad ways. So if we are religious people and we say, well, it's because I'm religious and I'm virtuous. Well, not so fast. I mean, that's just a superficial, you're just glossing over things. Really think about it. Really think about it hard, because you in your life, you may not actually have a large amount of temptation. Like, you might not be particularly good looking. You might not have any money. You might not be powerful. You might be kind of a dweeb and a wimp. And therefore, all those temptations that you have in your heart, they're never really presented to you, so maybe you act in good ways because you actually have no real opportunity to act in bad ways. That is a possibility. Back in high school, I think I hit puberty when I was like 18 plus years old. I mean, I was a really late bloomer, and I said, it protected me a lot because I wanted to, provide and protect for every girl in high school, but I wasn't able to because there was nobody that was willing to let me, help them out, and so. It is possible everybody falls into that camp, and so therefore you really got to analyze yourself, because in the past couple of videos, I was actually trying to encourage the men to actually become better, to become stronger, lift some weights, eat some food, become more powerful, more formidable in your life. Well, what happens when you become more formidable? What happens when you actually become more confident? Well, it actually can have a detrimental effect if you're not acting in good ways because you're weak. Like, if you're a virtuous man, you become more formidable, well, then you become dangerous to the world, and you can actually attack the hedonistic world and try to make the world a better place. But if you're non-virtuous man, and the only reason you're acting in good ways is because you're weak and afraid of the world, and then you become confident, well, it's possible you can actually go off the tracks and off the rails. And so this is something that's going to take a lot of prayer and a lot of patience, because to figure out in your own life. And then you have to get the confession. You actually have to start trying to habituate better behavior in yourself. And I know this is something that a lot of people don't think about, but it is something that does bear thinking upon, because if you really, really, if it comes down to it, most people in the world are not presented with like a massive amount of temptation in terms of, the sins of the sixth and ninth commandment, or the sins of jealousy and envy and all the other stuff, that it's reasonably easy in Western life to act in good ways, because we're not going hungry, we're not starving, we're not trying to provide for family members and not succeeding well at it. I mean, poverty levels are very low. And so that's my message for you. If I'm Catholic Dad's inspiring you to get stronger, bigger, faster, more confident, speak better, well, the world may open itself up to you, and you might actually have temptations that come at you that weren't present before. And if you're not well formed in terms of the virtues, you might actually lead yourself into a sinful life. So it's a cautionary tale here, people. We want to be bigger, we want to be better, we want to be stronger, we want to be more confident, but we don't want to we don't want to do that in the absence of virtue, because that could lead to grave and graven like moral dilemmas, you know. And so, anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the daily Rosary, and do act in good ways because your virtue's perfect. Do not act in good ways because you're a wimp. And if that's the case, work on your virtue before you work on your wimpiness. Take care. God bless you all.